I have it ready. All right. So we will start off with a video from TRIBZ.ECO. I will be sharing my screen. Okay.
The TRIBZ.ECO Systems team is highly qualified and motivated to share our sustainability, education, engineering, development, and science expertise with Belizean youth.
There's the phrase sub umbra floreo, which means under the shade we shall all flourish. And basically what that's saying is that we are a rainforest nation, and at the point where we lose this biodiversity and let it all get cut down and annihilated, we won't flourish as a nation, we won't flourish as a people. So that literal interpretation of sub umbra floreo is what fuels our compassion to protect what we feel is one of the most important rainforest biomes on the planet. The degradation of biodiversity and the degradation of our future generations are something we don't take lightly, and we are aware and treat them as serious national security threats.
A comprehensive analysis provided by the National Public Policy Proposal for the Prevention of Youth-Involved Violence enabled our team to zero in on key vulnerabilities that increase the likelihood of our youth's participation in wayward activities that exacerbate our national security and safety burdens.
Crime statistics demonstrating 47% of all convictions in Belize were of youth aged 16 to 25 years, 99% of youth having been exposed to violence. We're taking a direct action approach, facing statistics like 39% graduation rate and 20% unemployment.
GeoCOMPASS Center is an in-situ rainforest school without walls, where formerly vulnerable Belizean youth changemakers, scientific research teams, rangers, and eco-tourists commune, cultivate, construct, and conserve the Belizean ecosystem from our integrative off-grid living laboratory, or Live Lab.
Good day, all. My name is Dr. Chaku Teu Cayetano Cochocho. I am that bushy-looking bushman in that video presentation, and I do not have a car. I don't want to digress right now, so I'll deal with my lack of transportation later in the presentation and why. My friends and close colleagues call me Doc Tehu. I am a major stakeholder in multiple security firms throughout Belize and the Central America CARICOM region, and I currently serve on the University of Belize Board of Trustees as the NGO and civil society organizations representative. And in respect to today's presentation, I am also the co-founder and chief executive officer of the Tropical Rainforest Institute of Belize Ecosystems, or TRIBZ.ECO Systems. Next slide, please. Our solution to the problems identified in our video presentation is the GeoCOMPASS Center, which is specifically designed to proliferate academic and professional development opportunities for marginalized Belizean youth, especially in terrestrial conservation, exploration, biodiversity research related fields and markets, for example, ecotourism. And Go Howlers is, we actually have two value propositions. Go Howlers is one. We use the Yucatan Black Howler as our symbol and is called as an example to raise our voices to advocate against the deforestation and exploitation of Belizean lands and natural resources. Next slide, please. The GeoCOMPASS Center is a rainforest school without walls that generates earned revenue via the facilitation of award-winning integrative human development and environmental conservation activities, including but not limited to jungle first responders courses with CPR and first aid certification, fire and reserve maintenance courses, drone and technology, surveillance courses, wildlife and natural resource management, academic research, ecotourism services, and scouting events, festivals, conventions, and retreats. Next slide, please. Our key activities. So Compass Rangers are the ambassadors of our terrestrial conservation, exploration, and biodiversity research programs. We work on the front lines with trainees, researchers, and ecotourists via 3 different training units. The first is the Science, Education, Engineering, Development, and Sustainability School. Next is the Ecotourism Service School. And third is the Terrestrial Environmental Conservation, Protection, and Survival, or TechOps School. Next slide, please. The GeoCOMPASS Explorers program is our youth auxiliary program designed as a social reinvestment model that supports youth ages 8 to 18. Our objective is to expose them to our integrated terrestrial conservation, exploration, and biodiversity research programs as early as possible in order to give them a head start as capable agents of change. And this goes to our second value proposition, which is compassion rules our compass. Our program's planetary compass imprint represents compassionate guidance, which we feel is essential for exploring and opening new pathways for our future generations. Next slide, please. So on to key resources. So our key resources include our expanding 5-acre in-situ campus and live lab situated in the middle of our 100-acre private conservation area. It is our aim to manage our 8 capitals, intellectual, financial, natural, cultural, etc., and key resources through a cooperative carbon footprint that utilizes our Tropical Rainforest Institute of Belize as its nucleus. So now this is why I don't have a car. We all work together as a common community and share a carbon footprint that rotates around the university. So we carpool, we do everything that we can to keep our carbon footprint very low. We do what we love every day without financial compensation, as long as we can be compensated via the above mentioned capitals. Next slide, please. Our project coordinators specialize in science, education, engineering, development, and sustainability. They are also culturally and professionally connected to our stakeholders' interests and our beneficiaries' needs. And we are highly motivated to share our 30+ years of regional and international experience executing successful integrative human and environmental development initiatives. Next slide, please. Our clients include public, private research institutions, colleges, and universities worldwide. I deal a lot with what they call in the States HBCUs, or historically Black colleges and universities, and alumni organizations. Our customers also include socially conscious ecotourists and adventurers, conservation students and professionals looking for additional development, and social enterprises such as World Scouting, International Ranger Federation, etc. After the expansion of our new dorms and campgrounds, we hope to venture into space rental and expand our clientele to include event and seminar and retreat promotions in about from the 2022 to 2023 calendar year. Next slide, please. Innovation. While we highly appreciate the successful efforts of terrestrial conservation organizations that operate nationally and regionally, our extensive background and expertise in science, education, engineering, development, and sustainability, along with our in situ campus location within the Maya Biological Forest Corridor, position us to fill gaps that exist in respect to youth mobilization and leadership in respect to terrestrial conservation and exploration and biodiversity research, ecosystem services, and new emerging opportunities in growing ecotourism markets. Our carbon footprint is but a tiny fraction of many of these larger organizations, and our extremely low overhead has always guaranteed quicker return on investment. Now, next slide, please. As far as products and services, we wanted to offer up something that we have been successful with post-COVID. So our post-COVID, our Jungle First Responder course has been our only consistent revenue generating course. In 2020, we achieved our projected goal of 160 trainees per annum per course by 25%. So far in 2021, we found ourselves in the same position during this Q1, and we've grossed about 40,000 US and netted about 8,800 US after costs. We currently opted to skip Q2 and Q3 to focus on campus infrastructure projects and better prepare ourselves for Q4 in order to meet our original goal by at least 50% this year. Our 2022-23 goal is to run this or identically priced programs 4 times annually, servicing 160 participants per year per course. After COVID-19 restrictions are reversed and we've completed construction of our new dorms and campgrounds. This will allow us to double our accommodations from 10 trainees per course to 20 or more. And it will also give us an annual projection of a gross of 320,000 USD with a net profit of 63,000 USD after costs. And that's just for one course. Pre-COVID, we ran 4 similar courses per year. These are conservative estimates and they don't include our diversified revenue streams such as digital content monetization, etc. We're not currently in a rush to raise our income bracket and alter our NGO compliance requirements while we are still subject to the COVID-19 limitations of no more than 10 participants per course. Next slide, please. TRIBZ.ECO NGO was founded by a diverse group of retired education, military, and environmental conservation professionals who mostly hail from indigenous traditional communities. We have had the opportunity to serve throughout the globe. Many of us are lifelong beneficiaries and advocates of World Scouting who've been raised from the Cub Scout to Eagle Scout programs. And we are adept bushmen and educators and highly familiar with tropical terrestrial ecosystems and methodologies that mobilize our youth toward leadership. Next slide, community outreach. Next slide. Diversified cultivation, which includes agroforestry, carbon sequestration, aquaponics, etc. Next slide. Nature conservation and stewardship. And next slide. And bionomic infrastructure development and construction. That's actually me in the pictures. I'm also a certified environmental heavy equipment operator and instructor. Those pictures represent me at a thicker stage when I could eat like a big man. And next slide, please. We are evolving daily as an institution, and we are learning to adapt our operations and community outreach mechanisms for continuity in the new post-COVID-19 norm. So we've transferred a lot of our operations to online. This was an example of the students that we served in 2020, and we were looking to triple those numbers this year in 2021. Next slide, please. Much of the adoption includes strategically deploying the SocialLab IDB investment in a way that allows us to, one, upgrade our current antiquated technology for more efficient office and multimedia productivity, and two, enhance our capacity to professionally record, edit, and produce monetizable educational content. This will allow us to socially invest in the personal and professional development of local youth with a strong interest in jumpstarting careers in journalism, broadcast radio, television, or online content development. We have been leveraging our partnerships with USA-based 501c3 Actuality Media, which offers capacity building training in journalism and media technology, along with Kyle District Belize-based Maximum Radio 104.1 FM Max TV3, which will give us access to broadcast radio and TV, allowing us to supply a growing national demand for quality educational content designed for Belizean youth, while we more broadly disseminate news and information, public service announcements, and promote activities for our organization at a negligible cost. Our production agreement with Maximum Radio 104.1 FM is also structured where we maintain full ownership of all our productions, and this will position us to curate a great deal of content for distribution through our independent TRIBZ.ECO media module and social platforms like Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, etc. Next slide, please. Okay, in closing, according to the January 2015 IDB report titled Sustainable Tourism in Belize, the continued growth and success of tourism in Belize faces various constraints, including safety and security, competitiveness, accessibility, environmental sustainability, communication and promotion, disaster risk reduction, and climate resilience. Our offering to the Change the Story program heavily focus on transcending these critical constraints via integrative academic and professional development that increases the leadership capacity of Belizean youth from an early stage. The constantly evolving curriculum and technology innovations incubated through the GeoCOMPASS platform will also prove to be useful as Belize moves forward in achieving safe and secure continuity for our country's at-risk youth population and biodiversity assets. I would like to conclude this presentation by just offering a sneak peek at our proposed A.M. Cayetano Seed School CARICOM building slated for construction in 2024 to 2025. We've already cleared the line and done foundation work for this building. And I would like to welcome future partnerships with respective regional and national organizations. And we give our heartfelt thanks to all international organizations and stakeholders who have assisted us in achieving our critical goals and milestones thus far. From data and information to consultation, funding, and in-kind donations, we really appreciate all of the assistance. And that concludes my presentation.
To go first. Hi. I'm just blown away by this. I am blown away by this. So much so that I didn't make as much notes as I did with the others. So this is an amazing concept. This is, I have to say, I don't even know what to call you because I'm not seeing your name on the, I'm seeing the company name. So I want to call you by your name out of respect. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Brother Tehu is fine.
Brother Tehu, right. So Brother Tehu, I have to tell you, I am absolutely blown away by your presentation. I think one of the notes that I made was that you are the face of this, because it's an amazing thing to see someone like yourself, and you would know what I mean by this, I'm not holding back words, but someone like yourself taking forward an initiative like this. We don't see this. So it's very, very inspiring to see someone like yourself take this and move with it the way that you're moving. I think your story also, because I'm getting the feeling that there's a lot more, because for you to be where you are, I am sure that you have loads of other stories to tell us. So your story in itself is almost like, you are the face of this, you know? And I think that's a good thing. It took me a long time to see myself as my own story, my person, I'm my story. But it took me a long time to accept that, because we are often told that you don't put yourself first, you don't put yourself out there first. But sometimes for the bigger picture, you have to. So I really want to thank you for doing that. I made some note of some questions. I love the idea of the live lab. I would love to know more. So if there's somewhere you could point me to know more about that, it would be great. The courses, one question is the courses I saw you had at, like, for instance, 900 US. If you're selling that, what would you say you get with that 900 US?
Say that again, my debt?
Right. The course itself that I saw, as you said, it was 900 US for the course.
Mm-hmm.
What would be included in that? What would you get for $900? That's my first question.
So far, the way that we have been operating it is that because a lot of our clientele are International Ranger Federation, etc., we offer training programs, certifiable training programs, because I am certified in everything I do, and all of our staff is certified in everything that they do. So people can come from international areas, train with us, and walk out with an accredited IRF certification in a lot of these programs.
Right.
So for the recent course that we just gave for wilderness first responders, that was for just regular EMTs internationally, just to come and learn specifics of tropical wilderness first responder activities. So that includes, so that was a 2-day course, intensive course, and it included a lot of survival training, CPR, first aid, extraction. A lot of us are military trained, so it just to have access to our knowledge, and a lot of the people that participated were very appreciative.
And that includes your accommodation.
Yes,
in the space also. Okay.
Yes,
I have 2 more questions, and I know everybody else has, so I want to do it quickly. The tech aspect of this, you talk about tech up. I'd love to know more about that. But with all of, to me, technology is kind of now really merging into everything. So environment, into, biochemistry. We're talking now about nanotechnology that is like off the charts. Although you're in that space, what things are you going to put in place so that the people that you are training, and especially the the youths from Belize, how are you going to keep them in line with the technology and the trends that are happening?
Okay, so firstly, let me say that the Tech Ops School is more so terrestrial, environmental, conservation, protection, and survival. So that school actually it introduces participants to survival technology. Like I said, a lot of us are military and ranger certified, so we are introducing them to a lot of the technology for survival, like water purification, navigation, and things like such. Now we are involved in additional technologies as far as like drone technology and operations and things like that. And the way that it has worked for us, because we're in the stage of where we want to scale up, the way that it has worked for us thus far is that has been a major problem as far as coordinating with the major organizations that operate in the country that help us retain and track our youth participants. So please let me explain real quickly how it works. People with money come from outside in and spend that money with us for personal and professional development training. For every person that purchases a course, we're able to just train 5 to 10 area youth for free in whatever we can train them in. So for instance, in doing the construction here, I'm a civil and environmental engineer and with expertise in sustainable building. We built a biogas outhouse, like a luxury biogas powered outhouse. While we are building that, we are training local youth and letting them shadow us while we're building that so that they take that information. But as of now, we do not have the capability to track them. We would need to depend on much larger organizations and collaborations with much larger organizations. For transparency's sake, I'll tell you that the success of our organization has been the fact that we fly under the radar. So that being said, it's been hard to kind of penetrate some of these larger organizations as far as their assistance and help, which we would appreciate, but we are actually doing fine without it in the stage that we're in now. When COVID is over, we definitely want to scale this thing up and increase it and make it larger, scale, or share our plan with other organizations that want to replicate it,
And just lastly, because I'm sure my time is out, there is a gentleman, a friend of mine, who is in the Congo and is now in the middle, now beginning to do something absolutely not like yours, but certainly I'd love to introduce both of you all. He was born in Jamaica, went to the UK to live, and now is living in the Congo. Similar story to yours. So I'd love an opportunity to connect both of you all. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just have one question is, I said the money that you're receiving, are you using some part of that to advertise what you're doing, in the sense of if you purchase this course, you are also helping us educate this amount of this many volunteers? Like, do you have a plan into how are you going to communicate that into getting more courses sold?
Yes, we do. We do have a plan, and that is all a part of our continuing stages. A lot of the organizations that we are connected with, the organizations that we are leveraging our partnerships, they know us. So they are very familiar with the fact that, okay, you can come to this program, study here in Belize, and then that money will be socially reinvested. Again, like I said, our carbon footprint is very important. A lot of us are retirees. So as long as those capitals that I mentioned in the presentation, as long as those can be shared with us, a lot of us aren't looking for financial compensation. And I think that kills a lot of organizations, putting a lot of money out for financial compensation of the actual people that are doing the training. We figured out a way to do it, whereas as long as I can get I'm a hitchhiking PhD. There are a lot of us throughout the country. As long as we can get to and fro and combine our resources, we can make this thing work. We like to go into the school systems, the preschool systems, and even if it's about just doing something like a children's book. So for every one of these children's books that I sell on Amazon, I'm able to print, this is a hardback, I'm able to print lighter versions to give out for free to Belizean youth, because, you know, let's face it, there's not a lot of money rotating amongst the people in the country. So it was so important to be able to get this stuff out to the youth without having to charge them. But yes, that what you are asking is a huge part of our continuing plan. Getting on the television station here will help us a lot in curating and generating content that we can use to pump our message internationally. It'll serve like a dual purpose, a diversified purpose.
Dr. Tehu, I had a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think mine mostly have to do, you know, clearly it's a lot of different program areas that you have and are trying to, you know, integrate and develop. So I can see that. But what I really see is, you know, it's a community of retirees, mostly from abroad, I would assume. And then, you know, a lot of the services are going to international folk. So you talk about, you know, the involvement of communities and locals, but you also talk about flying under the radar, not being able to penetrate the organizations that in Belize do this type of work. So I guess my main question is, where can we find a record of who you have local relationships with? And where can we find a record of who has benefited from involvement in the communities? Because I think that's a key aspect for local organizations, and I speak for ourselves. You know, we do a lot of community work. We work with a lot of the local conservation NGOs. There's a very wide community out there doing similar things to what you do, perhaps with a different approach. And you're saying, you know, those relationships you've not been able to develop those, but perhaps a part of it is, I think, a lack of understanding of what community locally you're really serving. Because I don't, you know, I've looked at your website and other places, and I haven't seen that. So like, how do we find that out? And maybe this is part of something that needs to come out from the investment of the current project. I like Penny's idea that, you know, some of those funds need to be used to market what you've been doing in terms of the local outreach, because I think that is what is not visible, at least to the community that I work in, that, you know, does a lot of the things that you're trying to do as well.
Thank you. We operate at grassroots throughout the Cayo district, mostly. The program is called GeoCOMPASS. Kio is an indigenous word that means monkey. We actually originally put the program together to train local peoples in how to develop more sustainably. Again, like I was saying earlier about the biogas units, running our bathrooms off of biogas, et cetera, et cetera. There are not a lot of organizations in the country that are running this way. We mostly service Cayo district. We are located in situ, not far from Crystal Ray. So we service Crystal Ray Village, San Antonio Village, El Progreso, and we do a lot of work with the SISE community, San Ignacio and Santa Elena. We're pretty well known in San Ignacio and Santa Elena. A big part of us asking for the justification behind the request for the funds and how we want to apply these funds will go into national dissemination of our program, because we'll actually be on national TV channel 3 and then radio 104.1. What our plan was to do was to train some students and to actually just executive produce a small show and small snippets that they can air on TV that will give more insight into what it is that we do. Again, I have to also be transparent. I personally like to shy away from a lot of the red tape. Just like, for instance, some of the things that are happening in country with the Maya biological forest corridor and the different heartbreak and the ups and downs, I just can't take it. You know, I would much rather just do the thing that I do, train the people that I can train, but where I do need more help is to be able to track these youths that we have been assisting. We do a lot of work with the Cornerstone Foundation because we are grassroots, because they deal with the youth in the San Ignacio, Santa Elena area. And I'm sure you could contact them and ask them about the various programs that we put into effect throughout the years. We are guerrillas in a sense that we are trying to figure out the problem and then apply anything that we can apply to it to work. We started out with nutritional programs because we have a retired nutritionist here. We have nursing programs because we have a retired nurse medic here. So, and along with our website and our social media, everything is at TRIBZ.ECO. You'll be able to get a fuller picture and a broader picture of what it is that we do. But we do really need to increase our content, our digital content, and our ability to record what it is that we do and distribute it through social media. We have a huge social media presence, but we are lacking in that aspect. And this is what the investment will help us to do.
Yes, wonderful. Well, I hope that through the investment, like I said, we can, for the rest of us that participate in this sort of a similar community like yours, in terms of the goals, and objectives with conservation and all these other things that we can, we are able to see, the local involvement. Because I think it's clear that you are attracting visitors and that people are coming and using the services. But I think what is missing is perhaps that, sort of that full understanding of what is the local connection and who you are reaching out to locally. And so it would be great if you can use the funds to make sure that's more visible.
Thank you, Dr. K. And I tried my best to present as much as we could. Everything in this presentation are actual pictures of our activities, even the video, everything is all of what we've been involved in. So maybe I failed at that, but thank you so much for your feedback.
Again, just on my part, not only great presentation, but basically the things that you're doing. I know you said you don't like the red tape, and so do I. I don't care for it. And as much as you can be horizontal rather than vertical, it's much better because, really, and these are one of the things I can tell you that there is a focus on that, reducing red tape, because in this case, we work very closely with a number of entities. So my question, and I know this was asked before, in terms of stakeholder, in terms of visibility, those things are important. I mean, we're talking about the coming back or not regeneration of tourism, but that tourism is coming back. And think about the influence, the influence and the partnership and so much that can be developed. The other aspect of it is your targeted demographics in some cases where the youths are concerned. My institution works very closely with youths. We are also looking at renewable resources, renewable development. You talk about biogas, and there is so much more. If we could just get a prototype and to see, really in terms of possibility, because investment is also a big thing. So, and this is where you create the intersection between environmental conservation and investment, and doing it in such a way that the benefits still exceed the costs. So my thing here is I would like to also get your contact information. I don't really have it, to get those so we can continue to dialogue. And believe me, together we can create some of the same kind of the marketing that you're talking about. because we're focusing a lot as well on buy Belize, and buy Belize could also mean the courses that you're offered and things like that. And so with a partnership and with our international network and yours, there is so much more in terms of visibility and benefits that can come not only to you, but also, you know, to the country, because you did say that you are, you know, what did you say? You're a commuting or, you know, a PhD, which simply tells me that where your heart is more about, you know, really the outcomes and the satisfaction that is gained from those who benefit from your program. So I want to commend you and to say if we could, you know, find a way to develop a partnership, because there's so much that we can do together. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, great. I also want to commend you, Dr. Tehu, Brother Tehu, for an excellent presentation. This is very interesting. For me, it very much clarified the business model. You know, as we discussed before, it gave a much better understanding of your incorporation and use of digital technology in order to share these services and reach a wider market. Because one of the topics that we've been looking at and exploring, at least with my division, is this whole idea of scientific tourism. And that's really taking the culture and the biodiversity and attracting these scientific groups and researchers that are coming down in Belize, that would come down to Belize and sharing this research and sharing in this knowledge exchange between international persons and local persons. So I absolutely love the idea. My question, as it pertains to the business model, would also be looking at where intellectual property comes into this, because there's quite a bit of intangible assets that you have here, especially as it pertains to monetizing the content that you're creating. So I just wanted to point that out. And perhaps, I remember we had Marissa here at one point. She's an IP lawyer as well, in ensuring that your content is, however it is that you prefer to go about your monetization strategy, and ensuring that you're appropriating, you know, fair compensation for this content that you're creating. So, but very interesting, and yeah, very excited to see this move forward.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate SocialLab's involvement in helping us to better our offering. Thank you so much.
I see Alexia's hands are up as well.
Yes, thank you, Kayla, and thank you, Tehu, for a really great presentation. I think, as Kayla said, it's much more clear now as to the business model and to the investment plan for the funds that will be provided. As it relates to the monetizing of digital content, I just have a more like a recommendation and a question, really. It's just that as you begin to put your content on platforms, I would recommend you try to leverage platforms that already exist instead of trying to really rebuild a new platform, because that might increase your investment costs. And to consider as well the use of whether it is that you create a web-based portal, to also have a mobile application, similar with if you have a Coursera, a Kindle, they have a mobile app as well, so that any person can access content on the go. That's the new thing. More people are being connected via their mobile phones. So try to cater as well to meet your target, to cater to their needs, so that it facilitates and it grows your market more. I would love to see too, as Dr. Case indicated, some greater connections with the community. And it could probably be that you create some free content courses that they can get on their mobile phone that maybe just teaches them the basics of sustainability, the basics of their environment, etc. So I think from my end too, I would love to see for that to be considered in the entire model, so that it also generates greater social impact, which I know your entire institution is about.
Thank you very much for that feedback.
Tehu, a quick question, and just to be extremely clear. So going back to the seed capital and what it would be used for as it pertains to the investment plan that you have here, the idea is that you're creating digital content. Because I see here that there's, for instance, cameras and laptop, microphones, etc. So that's the idea. Can you explain that a little bit to me? I assume that it's because you're using digital technology in order to tap into a wider market and to get it up there and to monetize on that. Just wanted to be clear.
Okay, yes. So one of the programs that we've been running over the year, we've had a partnership with an organization called Actuality Media.
Right, you mentioned that in your presentation.
And what they do is they train filmmakers and people that are interested in television and content production, and they take them to beautiful areas around the world and actually have them produce documentaries. A lot of the documentaries that they produce through that program are award-winning documentaries. So what we'll be doing with the monies is applying it to equipment. It's actually one camera, one microphone, because we can do everything we need with just that. And it was one camera, one microphone, and a drone. Now, as far as the drone, we may have to reset up something as far as that goes, because we just got word this morning that we may have an in-kind donation that covers the drone costs. So, so we may not need that, but it was one camera, one microphone system, and a few laptops and things so that we can upgrade our antiquated systems around here. And I think it also included like waterproof cases and things like that. So the other partnership we are leveraging is with Radio 104.1 FM and Max TV Channel 3. Now, what they want us to do is to, we're collaborating and putting together a youth-oriented educational show. Of course, it will be more conservation oriented and conservation based. So what we like to do is get a diversified result out of one action. So we figured, hey, I can leverage my partnerships with the different schools in the Cayo district area and see if they can submit students that would be interested in this training, and we can actually have those students be the people that are on TV, actually the people that are making the presentation, almost like a high school television show or a high school newspaper, and then we can scale up from there. We start small, we finish big, and take it on from there. So the investment, it will actually help us to get this equipment, to get maybe like up to 9 local area students who are very interested, train them to actually do the presentation, because I don't want to do that. I'm a pretty clandestine person, kind of a hermit, and I don't want to be on TV making any kind of presentations. And I figure that we have to put as much as we can in the youth's hands. I see that lacking here. You know, everything is about what this politician is doing or what this old man is doing. I'm 55 years old, so what that old man is doing, what that old woman is doing, and I want to get the youth more involved in the decision in the decision-making skills and actually putting their face on Belizean biodiversity. And what that'll do is also help us as far as the guiding them away from the wayward activities and the different things that are happening now that we're in financial distress throughout the country. So that's what it is. It's actually, we put together a program. We got some equipment, and we need some equipment to make this thing even better. And that's what we're asking SocialLab IDB for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to, the secret for eternal for being young. I mean, I don't believe that Dr. Cachocho is 55 years old. I would like that to be part of the business model, for sure.
This will say different. This will say different.
The next idea is to bottle the elixir of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to avoid red tape. That helps a lot, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Broteju, for your presentation. It was great. And I think we're just about to reach the end of this session. It was very interesting to listen to the three groups. We're just finishing up with you, but I think the three presentations were very good. So before we go, I would like to know if anybody wants to say something at all. And other than that, appreciate your time. It was very good to have you all. I think we made a great job, and your participation, your experience, your background made this a very complete experience. So thank you so much. So now I would like to leave the time for anyone who wants to express or say something at all.
Maybe you can also highlight the next steps in terms of notes that we're taking and the updated plan.
Yeah, well, maybe before we listen to anybody else, yeah, we will be. We have the session recorded. I also took some notes. We will be working with each of the groups. We will have a session to debrief on this particular meeting. Basically, what is going to happen now is we're going to be doing the implementation phase. They will be able to, we already have some invoices, but we will be looking for service providers and, doing the job of, importing goods or buying different types of products and services that are required for this particular phase. So that's what's going to be happening during the next couple of weeks. We will be, finally getting a chance to invest that money. It's been a long time. At first, I guess the teams were a little bit anxious, but we wanted to do things right, and we wanted to make sure that the investment board was very well prioritized. If there's anything at all that you would like to let us know, or the teams, we will make sure to send you their contact information. Either you want to share a reference, or if you want to share a contact like Camille was saying, we will make sure you have the contacts for sure. And also, if you want to give more feedback, or if you would like to add something, or give other information, advice, please make sure you do it. And if you do, it would be great if you could copy us so we could follow up on that. Like I said, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will be working on having everything ready for us to be able to spend the money. So we still have time to incorporate your perspectives and other advices that you might have. So once this session is over, I will send you an email with the information from the different teams.
Hey, Andres, that was the question I was going to ask. I mean, many times you have these sessions and then you don't hear again until another session comes up. And I think that if you have continuous dialogue, because learning is something mutual. As a matter of fact, as Tehu said, he did a second doctorate, but still we don't know everything. And so therefore, for me, today was a learning for me as well. I mean, listening to him, listening to, really Jovan and the first one, learning never stops. And it's through learning that you're able, and I love research myself, you learn and you'll be able to provide feedback. So if we could set up some email where the presenters, these three successful groups are also included. I know, Kayla, whenever we send out email, there's quite a number of us copied in it. But I think the three of them, because if we want to continue to offer support or advice, this is something that we can do to find out how they're doing. And as I mentioned to Tehu just now, how we can integrate being a partner with Beltrade, for example, all three of them. And this is something that I would like to see. And again, thanks for inviting me to be a part of this. I was a part of the first in terms of selecting these three. But to be asked to be here today, it didn't matter that it was a Saturday. It was a pleasure being here, and like I said, it's very beneficial to me as well. So I want to thank you all and to thank the rest of my colleagues who are here as well today.
If I may, one thing that I did forget is that we do plan on including Mr. Sanker in that partnership as far as our project, as far as the animation and such. And, I think I forgot to mention that.
Well, thank you, everyone. I just want to say thanks to SocialLab and IDB for and the EDC and everybody that's brought this together. I mean, it's wonderful to see these projects being supported, and I think this is the kind of thing that we need right now, especially in the sort of post-COVID recovery climate that we have. It's to foster innovation and new ways of thinking about things because we don't have the old options anymore. So everything from health conservation, new ways of looking at non-extractive industries, those are really very important for our country. So I'm glad to see a nice, healthy mix of that in the three projects that have been chosen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well for having all of us here and for sharing these amazing projects that have also given me like direction as to where this type of projects are going and what other countries besides Guatemala are working on. Thank you a lot for that opportunity.
Great. On my side, I again want to thank everyone for their Saturdays. We very much appreciate it. It's been instrumental feedback to our teams here, which way they will be incorporating to update their investment plans. And as Dr. Almendarez mentioned, we'll see about doing a bit more continuous follow-ups to let you know how these teams are doing as well. Because we're hoping to use them as cases so that we can do more of this, not only in Belize, but across the Caribbean as well. So great.
Yeah, I just want to say, sorry, Kayla. I just want
all.
to add to, on behalf of the EDC, thank you so much, everyone, for making the time on your Saturday. I know it's precious time. We really appreciate it, and for continuing to support this initiative, which is trying to just generally, create that atmosphere and that push for innovation. So thank you so much, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody. Just a quick word, just to echo, especially what Dr. K and Kayla just mentioned. I think I think we knew from the outset that this was going to be exciting and interesting, a learning experience, as Dr. Almendarez mentioned. And I think this is such a great opportunity that we definitely need to kind of really showcase and talk about, because this new way of engaging entrepreneurs and society, communities is the way of the future. There are limited resources, and we definitely need to really ramp up the visibility of this. I wish that there was a drone, looking at us and telling the story of how this has all come together. And so perhaps if some publication or a case, as you mentioned, can be done to kind of like really shed the light of this success story. It's already a success, and it's just, a part of it still, but it just goes to show what the potential is, and it needs to be replicated.
Well, that's some very important recommendation. We will make sure we do that for sure.
Okay, great. I think that's everyone. I think that's a wrap.
Cool.
Great, congratulations. Thank
so
you
much.
Everyone. Your Saturday is officially free.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.